For the last 2 years, I've been considering the topic of decision making. Alongside the work element of this has been a focus on our own personal decision making. I'm often in a real state of amazement at the right others believe they have to deem the decision making of someone else about their own personal situation to be wrong. We don't often fully understand why people make the decisions that they do in relation to their own life. And a point I want to stress is that it often isn't our place to understand another person's decisions. They're their decisions, not ours. People will often look at another person's decisions and understand their situation through the lens of what is their own understanding of the world, not the decision makers. And often with that comes ego sometimes, driving a belief that their understanding and suggestion for a way forwards is the right way. Sadly, they're often missing context and insight about the decision maker's world. They know nothing of the rationale that makes a different decision both feasible and even preferable. And from talking to people, it's been my observation that the decision maker often has not just a much bigger picture of the situation, but a very clear strategy for where they're going with it. Systems thinkers in particular might make decisions others don't understand. Others might not think like a systems thinker, so how could they know how the decisions of a systems thinker fit into their bigger picture? And a simple answer is that they don't. But determined on their quest sometimes, those who stand baffled might scrape around looking for information to validate their own view, and therefore render the decision maker incorrect or lacking in insight or information or crazy even. But just because the decision leads to change that isn't aligned with your idea of what the future should be, doesn't make the decision wrong for that person. It is, after all, their choice, made by them, for them, and they take responsibility for it. I might suggest that the desire to change another person's outcomes comes from a quest related to your own purpose and not theirs. People like to make the lives of others into something that they themselves can tolerate, understand and feel comfortable with. If the decision maker decides something that makes others feel uncomfortable, a desire for control can kick in, closely followed by the need to guide the decision in a different direction. The friend who doesn't want you to go on that holiday because, well, deep down they'll be jealous. The person who doesn't want you to take that risk because, well, they wouldn't dare take that risk. The person who doesn't want you to change job because, well, who will help them in the workplace then? The person who doesn't want you to undertake a qualification because, well, it would make you more qualified than them and that just wouldn't do. And the list goes on. These things happen frequently and yet we don't often talk about it. It's an invisible pattern that swirls around us like fog, creating a constraining cocoon from which we have to break free. It takes a very strong person to let others be free to make their own decisions. It takes an even stronger person to stick to their own decisions and say no to those trying to manipulate them to their own advantage and comfort.